Hey everybody, welcome to Earth and Time, a channel where we explore human as well as Earth history. And today I'm really excited because we're going to go check out the Houston Gem and Mineral Show, a place where we're really going to take a look at everything from museum quality specimens to checking out what they actually sell at these, and talk a little bit about how these events are really exciting and very special in the sense that you get both the educational experience, you get the museum experience, as well as you get a bit of swap meet experience, which is a lot of fun. So join me today to check out the Houston Gem and Mineral Show here in Houston, Texas. Let's get to it. All right, they just opened the doors for the Gem and Mineral Show here, done by the Houston Gem and Mineral Society. I'm really excited. I come every November and I really look forward to sharing this with you this year. This will be my first time coming here and filming it. All right, so I got my ticket, and on here it tells you a little bit about the times for this event if you ever want to check it out, and also the websites at the bottom. So if you want more information, I'll keep this on here for just a minute. But basically it's Friday and Saturday 9 to 6 and then Sunday 10 to 5. And you can see it's usually the second weekend in November, I believe, but you can check those websites and Facebook and Instagram to learn more. All right, everybody, welcome to the Houston Gem and Mineral Show. I'm the second person in the door, which is pretty exciting, and you'll get an idea about the size, and can already see fossils, all kinds of gems and jewelry, as well as all kinds of rock specimens. So let's work our way around the floor and let's check out some of the amazing rocks as well as fossils and jewelry here at this exhibit. And my first stop every year is to come here and get Cambrian coffee. I'm so excited. Check out their mascot as a trilobite, and really do have the best merch here, including, I always love this postcard, geologic timescales. Wow, that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to get one of these. All right, now I'm ready for the show. Got my coffee, got a cool time scale, and I got a sausage roll. All right, let's go tackle this thing. And as I mentioned before, the beauty of these gem and mineral shows is they really are like you take a swap meet and put a museum together, and then you get one of these shows. And these are amazing fish fossils out of the Green River Formation in Wyoming, which was this Paleocene, Eocene lake that covered much of Wyoming, even parts of Utah. And these amazing fish fossils come out of there. In fact, here at the Houston Museum of Natural History, you can see some of these fish fossils as well. And what's really neat is they also have a palm frond at the bottom here, giving you an idea about not just the fauna, the fish, but also the flora that is there tens of millions of years ago. As I pan around, we can see amazing rocks like malachite, beautiful ammonites, more fish fossils, some polished copper. This is a rock called Larimar from the Dominican Republic. Really beautiful. It basically is found in a volcano, pretty rare, really neat to see. And of course, some of my favorite things, beautiful petrified wood that they've actually made into a Lazy Susan. What a cool idea. And of course, not just the fossils, but the rocks are absolutely amazing. And you can see these are gemstones from around the world. There's turquoise, chalcedony, tourmaline, topaz, prehnite, lots of quartz. You can come here and you'll see they're $1 or $2. So if you want to get your rock collection started, or get your kiddos rock collection started, or big kiddos rock collection started, and I definitely fall into that big kiddo category. These are one of the great things about coming to these exhibits as well, or to these events, is you can come here and for a fairly low price, get your rock collection started, collect some amazing minerals, as well amazing fossils here. Here are pieces of dinosaur bone that have been polished. Here you can see some fossil ferns. And even, check that out, a mammoth tooth. And if you want to know how to tell a mammoth from a mastodon tooth, you can check out one of my other videos. I'll link it at the top here. One of the other great things they have here is they have a whole section about the basics of geology that's sponsored by the Houston Museum of Natural Science. And so here they have stuff on sharks. So you can see, check that out, it's a megalodon tooth. right? And they talk about different kinds of shark teeth, and they actually have shark teeth they give away, and you can actually see some ray teeth as well. What I really love is they have this great exhibit on different types of rocks, and you can talk about things like the rock families, right? So you have igneous rocks here, intrusive as well as extrusive. You can talk about metamorphic rocks, and here's a little bit of a piece of a mining core from Colorado, which if you remember my video from Durango, we took a look at some of the mining core while we were out there. And then we can come over and take a look at the sedimentary rocks. And if you saw my video from the Blue Hole, this looks a lot like the Catahoula Formation, which actually has opalized cement in it, which is really cool. And so you can learn about all these rocks, and students can actually hold these, look at them, and learn from all the volunteers here. One of the things I'm often asked is, what do we do as geoscientists? And this is actually a really interesting poster or board they have up that talks about all the things geoscientists do and what they contribute to. Everything from, studying volcanoes to, of course, mining. Geologists are the people who find all the rare resources we need to keep the world running. There's engineering geology, things with hydrogeology, so in other words, where our groundwater and water we drink comes from. There's geophysics, you can see for power, GIS and remote sensing, which is really important, planetary sciences, stuff with renewable energy, things with nuclear energy, oceanography, understand our oceans, of course, finding hydrocarbons is a big one. And of course, things like even teaching and educating and working on scientific policy and doing lots of research. So there's lots of jobs in the geoscience space for anybody who's interested in that world. One of the other things they have here is a whole youth room, and I guess they have what's called a swap area, so you can bring in rocks and change them out for other rocks. And again, they have lots of educational material here, like the rock cycle, which I've talked about many, many times in my videos, metamorphic rocks, igneous rocks, and sedimentary rocks, and how they all just recycle and recycle. And then they have examples of each of those. They have chemical, organic, clastic. They have igneous rocks, so they have intrusive and extrusive, and they're going to have different types of metamorphic rocks, or rocks that have been changed through heat and temperature. This is really neat. So these are stones I believe students have worked on and polished and made into what we call cabs. So they can take things like jasper or agate or dinosaur bone, and they can polish them up and make shapes out of them, and then you can use them for jewelry or just a showcase like here. And they have lots of boxes on things like petrified wood, and they have information on that, and different types of petrified wood here. This is pretty cool that you can touch and hold. Or petrified wood. Whoa, they got a lot. This is a petrified palm. Actually, petrified palm is the state stone of Texas. And lots of petrified wood. What's neat is you can actually see the bark still on this wood, and you can see parts of the rings still petrified and preserved. And so most petrified wood, the process that petrifies them is permineralization, and it's just basically a replacement of the organic material by silica. And this is a piece most likely from the Chinle Formation. So this would be Triassic, early time of the dinosaurs. We can still see some of the bark, and it's probably from somewhere like Arizona or Utah. It has a very distinct agate look to it, like this reddish color. These are the types of things you'll see in Petrified Forest National Park as well. It is from Arizona first, so I wasn't too far off. And then what it talks about is what the different colors in it, what the extra minerals are that are giving that color. So iron is reds, copper and chrome will give you greens, molybdenum will give you blues, lead and phosphorus will give you the whites, manganese will give you blacks, potassium will give you yellows, and cobalt will give you grays. So if we look over here, we can see lots of red. So this is iron. I can see some yellows, so maybe a little bit of potassium in here. I can also see lots of whites, so some lead and phosphorus probably went here as well, some blacks, so some manganese. So there's lots of extra minerals that are helping to create the amazing colors of this petrified wood. One of the other things they do is they explain, how do you identify rocks? And so you can identify rocks based on observations, and those are things like the color, the streak, the weight, what they look like, their cleavage, how they break apart, how translucent they are, their crystal shape, are they magnetic, and then sometimes their feel, because they can feel very different and textured. So this is super light. You can't tell, but I know because it's so light and airy and vesiculated. This is a pumice, and then pick up the rock next to it. It's very heavy. Also, an extrusive volcanic rock like the pumice, but this is a basalt, but not nearly as airy or frothy as the pumice. The really cool things you can do is you can take what's called a streak plate. It's basically porcelain, and you can grab a rock and you can make a streak, and depending on the streak, let's see if I can do it again. This one's going to be reddish. You can see it's reddish, and because I know the streak is red, that tells me with the weight and how it looks that this is a piece of what's known as hematite. Now there's not very many things that are magnetic, but we have magnetite, and they don't have, let's see, do they have they don't have anything. Oh, nope, they don't have a magnet here for this. But if I had a magnet, I could stick it to that guy. And then they talk about a lot of different other things, cleavage, how they flake, what the crystal shapes are, can tell us a lot about the type of rock. So you can see quartz in here. You can see some garnet right there in red. It's a pyrope, P-Y-R-O-P-E. I always seem to mispronounce that, but I think it's pyrope or pyrope garnet. You can also tell by sight. Like this, I can tell you right away is petrified palm wood because I can see it has these little holes in it, and the texture gives it away. Things you can tell by color. So like there's amethyst, it's purple quartz, pretty common. And you can tell things like sulfur when it has a yellow look. They have stuff here on the dinosaur footprints from Glen Rose Formation, somewhere I still need to get out to and visit with you all. And they have a cast of one of these Cretaceous dinosaur tracks here. Really cool. Can you see the three toes? Here's the middle toe, here's the left toe, and the right toe. An ammonite, which you can find these in Texas, as well as these giant plesiopods, or they often call these devil's toenails here. It's a giant old oyster shell. And if you can see my hand for size, that was a big oyster. So just panning through this room where we're at. So they have education here, as well as you can come here and get swap dollars. So you can pay a couple dollars and get fun dollars, and you can go and get just different types of minerals for different amounts. Things like all these minerals in this area are only $1. Then they have $2 and $3, and they go up. And so you can, again, build your collection pretty quickly here for pretty cheap. And if nothing else, it's really neat to come here and look at all the different types of rocks and fossils just by coming to the convention. So visiting one of my favorite booths, and that's Bits of Nature here. And they have amazing rocks, as well as some of my favorite fossils. They have orodont fossils, which are an extinct type of mammal from about 30 to 35 million years ago. Really neat. A lot of them are actually found in the Dakotas. Also, check this out. There's a woolly mammoth tooth. And then there's some mosasaur teeth here and vertebrae. Really amazing exhibits here. Check out that azurite and malachite. Absolutely beautiful. Check out the amazing fluorite examples here. And not just that, check out the Lego rock exhibit here. I'm going to have to look this up. It has some rainbow tourmaline. It looks like maybe you have some amethyst up there, maybe some citrine, a little bit of rhodochrosite. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be maybe fluorite. I'm not sure what that one's supposed to be, but really neat. Oh, and there's some pyrite up there. So another one of my favorite booths are L&M rocks. And I love all their Madagascaran septarian nodules, which are a little different than the ones from Utah, which you'll see will have more of this yellow or honey looking calcite. And you'll see the stuff from Madagascar has a lot more of the black filling in all the cracks. Love the picture stone, which is a sandstone that has iron staining on it. They actually call this Lisengang banding, and you can actually see where iron went into the sandstone, and so it makes these amazing pictures, as they call them, within this sandstone. They hollowed out some petrified wood to make little dishes out of it so you can store your stuff. One of the coolest things I've ever seen, check this out. They actually have a stalagmite here as well. So stalagmite with the G means it was growing from the ground up. Stalactite means it was growing from the ceiling down. But that is really neat. Kind of looks like a series of udders, actually. One of the really cool things here is being based in Texas is seeing all the fossils and all the types of rocks that actually come out of Texas. Now, we had something called the Cretaceous Interior Seaway that came into this region. And so you had a lot of these ammonites and other types of fossils, plesiopods and seashells and gastropods, fossils that are all found here because the Cretaceous Interior Seaway cut through the central portion of Texas. And these are some of the Ammonites that have been found here. And some of them are really, really spectacular. Sorted bin, and here's one of these pelecypods again. We saw one earlier. They always call these the devil's toenails. But you can see another one here. You can also see some other shell fragments as well from Texas. Just want to plug the Fossil Fantastic here. So these are the folks that had these Ammonites from Texas. So I really appreciate them allowing me to film and share with you all. And some of these pieces are just mind-boggling how beautiful they are. Here's some beautiful crinoids. So these are ancient sea lilies, and you can see that's the stem coming down, and the floral part would be its head, and it would pick up plankton and eat little microbes and zooplankton and things like that. And really, really neat to see that absolutely spectacular piece. Another booth I like to visit is the Katy Rock Shop. And you can see they have some beautiful geodes here with amethyst, as well as some spectacular tourmaline in here in their display case. I actually came here last year and bought a bunch of pieces of what's called lepidolite. It's a type of mica that actually has lithium in it. Really, really interesting and beautiful pieces here. And I bought a whole bunch of those from them because I thought they were so unique and so beautiful. So one of my favorite things to do is I'll go to schools and give talks about geology, and I always bring some copperlite with me. Now, if you don't know what this is actually fossilized dung, or you'll see fossilized marine poop in this case, but it's always a lot of fun to toss that out to the kids and have them check it out and then tell you what it is. And then when you tell them what it is, I always get the ooh, ah, oh. These brittle stars, wow, they're from Morocco. They don't have the age of them though. I'd be really curious how old these are, but really well preserved. It is fascinating looking at all the different mineral varieties that are here. I don't even know what some of these are, but they're absolutely gorgeous. Like this, I guess that's a piece of ruby. Look at that, spectacular. Check this out, this is shale. So it's a type of clastic rock that's around 430 million years old. They call it the Wichita Mountain Shale from central Arkansas. But look at its luster and its banding, and it's absolutely gorgeous too with all the colors. And what we learned, that black is usually manganese, red is going to be iron. Look at how fun that is. So they took a piece of labradorite and they carved it into a dinosaur. They carved some owls over here. And you can really get the blue color from the labradorite shining through. Amazing. And one of my favorite rocks right now is actually the swamp bogwood, and this is from McDermott, Oregon. So it actually sits on the border of Oregon and Nevada area, but this is wood that was inside of an old swamp or old lake along the border that's somewhere between 10 and 15 million years old. But because of all the volcanic activity and all the ash falling, it actually changed the color of this petrified wood to look very, very different than what you normally expect. So it's got iron, aluminum, potassium, sodium, and calcium all in it, giving it this color. That would make a whole heck of a lot of pennies. Look at all that copper. And, ooh, it's pretty heavy. Look at these fossilized sand dollars from the late Jurassic, 160, 155 million years ago. I'm sure you've seen sand dollars today, for those of you who live along beaches or collected them. But amazing, they've been around for a really, really long time. And they have Ice Age horse teeth from Florida. That's crazy. So it turns out horses actually evolved here in North America and migrated across, eventually went extinct, lived in other parts of the world, and of course now they've been reintroduced back to the Americas. But horses and camels both originally are from North America, and both eventually went extinct after the last glacial maxima. And look at all those megalodon teeth. Oh my goodness. So from the southeastern US, and somewhere between 20 and 2.5 million years old. Absolutely spectacular. All right, Al, so I'm at Jacko's booth here, and I'm going to make sure we can learn a little bit more about T-Rex. I'm going to hand the mic over to him.
So probably the main thing that separates T-Rex from other carnivorous dinosaurs would be the shape of the tooth. Most carnivorous dinosaur teeth tend to be very blade-like. T-Rex teeth are much thicker. They're often compared to like serrated bananas. I think serrated spikes is a more fun description. And that's a big part of identifying them properly as T-Rex versus something else. Now, if you ever are looking to get a T-Rex tooth for yourself, the first thing you really need is the location. They're found in eastern Montana and a little bit into Wyoming near what's called Lance Creek, Wyoming, as well as in the western part of South Dakota. It's typically, you get them out of there. After that, once you narrow it down to those areas and what's either the Hell Creek Formation or the Lance Formation, you examine the shape of the base, because there was another tyrannosaur that lived alongside T-Rex called Nanotyrannus, and there's actually, that one right there is a really big Nanotyrannus. A lot of people will do is they'll be like, oh, it's a big tyrannosaur tooth from Hell Creek, must be a T-Rex. And it is possible to get some large nanos out of there. So what you do is you look at the shape of the base, and with Nanotyrannus, if there is a very noticeable pinch in the center of the base, then it's from a Nanotyrannus. If it's oval or tear shape or there's no pinch, then it's from a T-Rex. Now, one other thing to keep an eye on is this guy right here. Now, these are very fun, Carcharodontosaurus. So you'll often see these for sale called the African T-Rex. And he's very, and I can see why people would refer to that. It's a giant carnivorous dinosaur that lived in what is now North Africa. I don't think it was as heavy as T-Rex, but it was a bit longer. It was about the same height. Carcharodontosaurus is not a tyrannosaur. It's actually about as closely related to T-Rex as cats and dogs are. It's actually even more distantly related. The theropods, because T-Rex was in the Coelurosaur, Carcharodontosaurus was, I believe, more in the Carnosaur group. Those two, I'm not sure when they diverged, but it was pretty far back. That, and there was also about 30 million years separating the two, and they lived on completely different continents.
So how do you know if these are real and not replicas?
It's actually pretty rare to see someone selling an outright fake dinosaur tooth and calling it real. You do see that a bit with claws, but you don't see that a lot with teeth. I will typically use a combination of a black light and acetone to test my fossils if I am worried about any potential shenanigans. So you'll notice the shine on it, it's very consistent. There are some repaired cracks where the tooth broke and was glued back together, but you're not noticing any difference in the UV light shining off of it. That's what you want to see. You'll notice there's like some brown lines there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is areas where it was filled in. Filling in the cracks like that is good to keep the tooth stable and make it look nice.
Okay, maybe one more question. Of all the fossils here and everything you have, is your favorite the T-Rex teeth, or is there something else?
I mean, you can't go wrong with T-Rex. That's always... T-Rex will always be my favorite dinosaur. I know it's basic, but yeah, you really can't go wrong with that.
Jacko's Fossil Emporium, and I'll put the information down below. You can find his stuff online, and I believe, do you ship?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you can take a look at his inventory online. I'll link that down in the description below.
Yep.
And here's more information, and if you go to the Scan Me right there, you can go right to the website and learn more and find your very own amazing fossils. All right, so here are one of my favorite things. As you all know, you've seen lots of my videos on dinosaur track sites and trackways, but they have some Graulator tracks here from France, as well as Ornithischian track here from Connecticut. Really, really cool. Both are early Jurassic. Absolutely gorgeous. Some more amazing fossils from, I believe, the Green River Formation. Look at the size of this fish. Absolutely gigantic. So we've talked about Ammonites several times now, and you can see some beautiful examples of Ammonites. So one of the things I want to show is how they're coiled. Now, Ammonites lived up until the end of the time of the dinosaurs, so they went extinct at the same time at the end of the Cretaceous. But there's some really interesting morphologies that Ammonites can have that scientists still don't understand, and they call these heteromorphs. So it's a really interesting pattern that they don't understand why some of these Ammonites developed this way, because what advantage would they have being shaped? And there must have been a lot of them, otherwise you wouldn't have these fossils preserved. So you had to have a large enough population to be fossilized. Really, really neat to see. And you'll see here that The heteromorph ammonites were ammonoid cephalopods that with unusual shell shape that are particularly diverse during the Cretaceous from 145 million years ago to 66 million years ago. That's when the dinosaurs went extinct as well. And I hope somebody studies these and can give us some hypotheses on why they think these ammonites look so different in their coil shape to all of these ammonites that you can see here, which are a lot more common. The thing everybody loves are geodes, and they even have Utah dugway thunder eggs. Thunder eggs are pretty cool.
They're solid, they call them thunder eggs.
He's going to take the next geode. You're going to see he puts this chain around it, and then they're going to crank it, and they crack it, the geode. So see how they put the chain around it, and they hook it in, make sure it's nice and tight. And then when it goes, it'll actually puts the towel over it so we don't get shards flying everywhere for safety reasons. And he's going to crank down on that handle. Ooh, and we hear the crack. And now you get to see. Oh, look how beautiful those are on the inside. Wow. And you get, here's a bigger geode. And where's this geode from?
This is a dugway.
A dugway. Oh, this is from Utah. This is my old stomping grounds.
You were just saying you found some out in that area.
Yeah. There you go. So
We just got this shipment in. It's pretty fresh.
And most of them, I'll hit it with black light here in a minute when it's open.
Watch this, you're going to crack. Oh, yeah. It's a satisfying sound.
That was a good
crack.
pop.
Yeah. There we go. Look at that. Oh, wow. Look at that. And with the black light, you can actually see
Trace of uranium.
the calcite and uranium fluorescing. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Whoa.
That's really cool. Come here. This is the Geode Gallery, and they were the folks that allowed me to film that. So thank you very much, the Geode Gallery. Check out these fossil fish. Amazing. These are Eddie's Rocks and Relics. Another booth I really, really enjoy. Look at that tourmaline. And check this out, whale vertebrate with sharp bite marks. I have never seen such a thing. That is so cool. Hey, this is Phoenix the bearded dragon. Hi! Oh, my daughter's going to be so sad she missed the bearded dragon. It's one of her favorites, her beardies. Okay, they're speaking my language here. It's petrified wood, agate, and it's only $20 a flat. And I'm going to assume a lot of this is from Texas, or is it from all over?
Texas.
Mostly Texas petrified wood. Do we know what formation it comes out of mostly? Do you know what geologic formation it comes out of? That's absolutely a beautiful piece.
I don't.
Okay, that's a beautiful
That
piece.
is pretty. Some of it is from Arizona.
Pieces from the Chinle Formation in Arizona. Okay, I moved from the main hall, and now I'm walking around checking out what's around the main hall. There's a series of hallways here, and they have more educational material, as well as it looks like, ooh, they have a blacklight room. Let's go check that out. Oh, I'm excited about this one. Fluorescent minerals. So what do they have in there? They have willemite and calcite. You can see this calcite turning orange and kind of yellow-green. Sphaibite, tugtapite. So in mining, they would use blacklight to find certain minerals. Tungsten mining was a big one, but you can also see things like fluorite back there, quartz and chalcedony up there. There's opal, fluoresce, especially common opal. There's semi-opal, fluorite. This is a great exhibit. Look at these ones. Wow, deep purple fluorescent, hardy stonite. Wow, zinc ore. So apparently looking for zinc, they'd use this black lights as well. That's zinc ore back there. Right, that was awesome. Oh, I have a geologic map of Texas and where fossils are found in Texas. Up there. Look at all these fossils. Look, they have some fern here, palm wood. Spectacular. They have some petrified wood, probably from the Chinle Formation in Arizona, which is neat. And look at the leaf impressions. And oh, look, they got a crinoid head. We were looking at crinoids earlier. Sea lilies, trilobites, including a 3D printed trilobite. That's really cool. Some other trilobites in there. And of course, we've seen lots and lots of ammonites. And here's a plecopod. Ooh. And look at that. It's a beautiful shell. Bivalve, and you have some brachiopods down here. More teeth, and then check this out. Some dinosaur bones. And we know what these are. There's going to be some coprolites, so fossilized dung. And we have some mammoth bones here. We got some horse teeth over here. So as I mentioned before, horses actually evolved in the Americas and then went extinct, and of course were reintroduced when Europeans came over. So both horses and camels are American-made, or North American-made. Here's some alligator scutes, which are really neat. If you all remember when I went to the dig, so this is exciting. They actually have a bunch of the fossils that are found here in Texas. So towards the end of the time of dinosaurs, Texas was actually split by a big seaway. It's known as the Cretaceous Interior Seaway, or sometimes just called the Interior Seaway or Cretaceous Seaway. And so all these fossils are found associated with that. And here's a bunch of, I love these. These are all urchins. Here are a bunch of bivalves. And then we can see a bunch of gastropods. So these would be all kinds of different types of snails. If anybody remembers, I've actually done a video on the Lunatia that I found a gigantic one the size of a football. All right, all. Thank you so much for joining me today to check out the Houston Gem and Mineral Show here in Humboldt, Texas, just north of Houston. What an amazing event. It's a combination of a swap meet, a museum, a university, fantastic people, fantastic booths. I enjoyed meeting everybody here. Thank you all for taking the time to talk to me. Everybody came here. Thank you to the folks who came up and said you recognized me from other videos. That was really cool. So thanks, made my day. So with that being said, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Please hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode. Leave comments down below. I love hearing from you all. And also don't forget to hit that bell for notifications once you subscribe, so that way you can find out when I upload new videos, usually on Mondays or Tuesdays of each week. So with that being said, everybody take care. See you all in the next adventure. Bye for now.